welcome to today's edition of What's Become Clear. I'm Steve Wyckoff.
And I'm Kevin Honeycutt.
Kevin, how are you doing today?
All right, I'm all right. Now, you just had an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
You were in there with Career and Tech Ed. What was that about?
Well, we have a project that we're starting where we're taking all of the career and technical education courses that are taught virtually among colleges in Kansas and creating a portal that lists all of those classes for high school kids to take for concurrent credit. We've had a big push over the last couple of years to move to career and technical ed, but there's been a couple of real stumbling blocks in that. Last year, we had over 100,000 kids go through the Kansas Career Pipeline, take the interest inventory that told them the career clusters that they might be well suited for and have interest in. But for the most part, that's where it ended. Kids took the interest inventory and somebody handed them the results and they said, here you go. And they said, thanks, and end of story. Well, where we want to get is where the kids then have an adult that works with them that says, wow, that's interesting, and works them through the process of creating a career plan up and including starting to take courses for college credit in their desired career field.
Nice.
And so, we had about 25 people today working on that. This is the second meeting that we've had. Had about 20 the last time, and we had post-secondary institutions and superintendents and principals and curriculum directors that were present today. And we've got the website started, and we're actually listing courses. And by January 1, we hope to have about 1,000 courses available to high school kids.
Wow, that's ambitious.
Well, I've got a question for you related to that. You're also a school board member. As a school board member, when you think about making all of those career courses available to your kids, what do you think about that?
What I'd like to do is have alignment between what we're doing and the Career and Tech Ed, sort of the career pathways, sort of integrate that into stuff that we're doing so they get twice the bang for the buck. You know what I mean? If there were classes that did that. Because I think we have thought of Career and Tech Ed as this
Tell me what you mean by that. I'm not quite sure.
Well, for years, it's always been Career and Tech Ed. Well, he can't write very well. Maybe he'll be a welder. And we've sort of paid this lip service to careers.
For those kids.
Yeah. When now we know that, that those are careers that actually pay.
Yeah.
And the people who went and got their masters are waiting tables somewhere, you
Yeah.
know. That maybe we're starting to get sensible. In this state, the focus has changed, So maybe I drank the Kool-Aid and believe that we can combine the career clusters and those dang state standards and get you take one class and you get credit, but you also learn about a career at the same time. Am I crazy?
No, as a matter of fact, you're not. Well, you may be crazy, but not on this issue. Okay, let's clarify. Two of my favorite people up at the Kansas State Department of Education, Tom Foster, Robin Harris. And in visiting with them, they're doing something up there that's really going to play into what you're talking about, and it's called course codes. And the course codes allow us to analyze any learning experience that the student goes through. And say, gee, by having this educational experience, you mastered these standards. Well, this one happens to be a communication standard, and this happens to be a math, and this happens to be a science, and we can give fractional credit for those courses that can be aggregated into full courses.
Fractional?
Yeah, so
Is that
now,
possible?
Yes, it is. It is possible, and there will be software that will aggregate those fractions into full credits so that a student could go through 3 or 4 or 5 educational experiences that all involve communication skills, and we have the ability now to say, wow, based on all those aggregating the communication in there, here's your English credit, or here's this credit or that credit. So, we're kind of we're moving to where we can get more bang for our buck, as you said.
Sure. And you should. You know how many times you've seen this as an administrator and as an educator, that a course teaches more than the course. That there's a lot more, but we never get credit for that extra learning that we did. That maybe we can do this.
Yeah.
I've got my hopes up.
Well, and the other side is this. We've always kind of looked at a course that's not a core curriculum course, kind of looked down our nose at it. But what we're realizing more and more is that a student that communicates in a real-world context, that career context, actually learns it better than they do sitting in a sterile classroom where it's very abstract.
I so agree. looking at this, I don't have anything that I have in particular against the 5-paragraph essay, but most of the writing in the workplace, what does it look like?
Yeah.
What does effective communication look like when you're keeping a job?
Yeah.
You know, if you're teaching a college class, I get it. That's one thing. But if I'm communicating with my boss in a professional way,
Yeah.
maybe I'm doing it on a BlackBerry. How do I not embarrass myself by being able to write effectively in that way?
You know, my good friend Mike Neal is the Assistant Dean of Education up at the University of Kansas, and I speak to his classes every semester, and you know, I started asking him some time ago, I said, Dr. Neal, when's the last time you wrote a multi-page research paper? Now, he's a highly successful professional. What's his answer? When he wrote his dissertation. I said, you know, we spend a lot of time with kids on a multi-page research paper that they may never use again. But I said, Dr. Neal, when's the last time you wrote an email? I said, just before I walked in this classroom. You know, when do you use an email? When do you send a text message? When do you use chat? Somebody needs to be teaching our kids when and how to use those appropriately. I hear a lot of English teachers complain. They say, well, those kids turn in a paper to me and they use that instant messaging language in there. Well, who's teaching them not to? And when to, because there is an appropriate time.
That's right.
You know, when I visit with my son that works in information technology, he has a chat window open anytime he's on a computer with his boss. That's how they communicate. There's an appropriate time. There's also an appropriate time for a document that follows all the rules of grammar, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. I think more and more it's that time in my career. It's hard to find that time exactly. It happens once in a while. Don't you think the more appropriate skill isn't how to write a 5-paragraph essay or a multi-page essay, but how to find out how when you need to and if you need to, and how to find out how.
And I'm okay if we do some of that. I mean, you know, I've done research in my life, and there's an appropriate way. I just don't think it needs to dominate what we do. You know, I had a close friend of mine a couple weeks ago say, well, you just want to throw out everything. Well, no, I don't want to throw it out, but couldn't we at least go half and half? You know, our entire core curriculum is designed to prepare kids to get a liberal arts degree in a 4-year college. You know, that's fine if that's what the student wants to do and that's what their parents want them to do.
Right.
But we shouldn't do that by default.
Right.
So as a board member, how does that grab you?
I want that to be true. I want my kids to be, I want the kids to come from our district to be able to get a job, to be able to go to college, to have choices, to have lots of choices, and also to get credit for the work they've done as they go, to optimize their time, not to waste their time. I want my seniors to have a year that means something.
Yeah, absolutely. You know who gets it? Fort Hays State University. They were here at our meeting today. All the 2-year schools, the community colleges and tech colleges, they get it too. They get it because their direct customer is business and industry. So those people are saying this is what your graduates have to have. Fort Hays State University had over 1,000 graduates last year in China, taught virtually. Okay, they canceled all of their face-to-face classes last summer because of budgetary issues. But they said, but we're going to keep educating people virtually. They now have 30 programs online. They give you an option there.
Sure.
You know, Dr. Ed Hammond's the president there. They get it.
They've gotten it for a while. Wouldn't you say they've been out there for a while?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that had the foresight to start in China, and they're working in other countries now, that they are educating large numbers of students in foreign countries and doing it virtually, they got it a long time ago.
Okay, so in a nutshell, my dream comes true, and a kid takes a class, gets the credit for that class, but you have those course codes, so there's an alignment between state standards credit and that careers credit, and they're getting credit in both at the same time.
Yeah.
That could actually happen.
It could happen. It could happen. And you know what may drive it? Budget shortfalls.
Yeah.
We may do it because financially we've got to have a different solution.
That is interesting.
You know, I guess I don't care what the reason is. I care about where we get.
So you've been driving several groups toward this goal for a while.
Yeah.
Years.
Trying.
Yeah. So you got leadership in that conversation.
Yep.
And
And we're getting ready to expand and bring in counselors and curriculum, more curriculum people, more principals, and we're moving forward.
Good. I hope we get there.
So that was today's edition of What's Become Clear. I'm Steve Wyckoff.
Kevin Honeycutt, thanks for watching.